Now I was going to be using either lacquer thinner or acetone to see if I could get the paint off of these things. But one of the viewers suggested, why not paint stripper? And that's too obvious. That's probably why I didn't think of it. I do have some, and it probably is not going to smell nearly as strong as either of these two will. This time of year I don't want to be opening up my doors and windows here in the house, so otherwise I wouldn't feel so. Well, I'd probably use this outside. I don't think I'd want to open that tin inside the house here right now. I have a pretty small house, and it's winter time, and I want to keep my windows shut. But let's just try this, and we'll try it on one of those smaller pieces. Now this is the gelled version of this stuff, and in all likelihood we're going to be sacrificing a pipette. I'm not smelling anything, so that's a bonus. Now, I don't know how long a person is supposed to leave it in there for. I don't know if it's my imagination, but I seem to notice a little bit of clouding. I'll put the macro lens on, we'll have a closer look. I do believe we've found the solution, and there is no offensive odor. Right after this last scene that you saw, my telephone rings, and I answered the kitchen phone because that was the closest phone to the model table here. Oh, this is coming off nice. Anyway, it turns out it was I don't have a call display on my kitchen phone, so I didn't know who it was, so I thought probably one of the kids, calling to wish me a Merry Christmas, so I answered the phone, Merry Christmas, and then a familiar voice on the other end says something like Merry Christmas, and turns out, excuse me, it was one of you viewers calling me, and I sort of reminded that it's Christmas Day here, and I didn't say anything about Merry Christmas. Now, mind you, if you're one of my Australian viewers, that was yesterday. Anyway, we kind of talked about that. You know what? This is actually coming off better than I thought it would. And it says that it's water cleanup. So, excuse me, something wrong with my voice here this morning. And I can't reshoot this, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I think I'm going to put this back in my ultrasonic cleaner with hot soapy water, and I'll bet you we're going to be back as good as new. Okay, I'll do this now with the larger ones. Yeah, this is working really good. So to that viewer who suggested a paint stripper, thank you very much. It's working great. Now, nowhere did I read in the instructions that say do not have metal parts touching the bottom of the container here. Now, I know that the transducer is probably right there. Now, maybe there's more than one on this. I don't know. As far as I know, there's just the one. It's one of the cheaper models, but it seems to work okay. So what I'm going to do is, as it's running, I'm going to keep them moving around here with my little stick here. And my thinking is, in that way, there's not going to be any places where it's rubbing together a lot. Because actually what's happening there is these things are vibrating something fierce. And yeah, I suppose it could wear through, but I don't think so. So I'll just be sort of poking them around here, as you see. And what I did was I cleaned the longer ones off the same way as you saw me do these shorter ones here. And Then after that, I put them in a test tube that had a little bit of Windex in it, just to rinse them off. So I rinsed that stuff off with Windex. By the way, that stuff did start to dissolve the plastic of the test tube. So not all plastics will stand up to that poly. What was that stuff called? Polystripper or something? Anyway, it's just a regular paint stripper. Well, maybe it's not a regular paint stripper because it said super. Anyhow, let's get this thing turned on here, and it's going to run for about 3 minutes. And then we'll put the macro lens on and take a close look and see if we can find any paint left anywhere. You know what? Maybe we'll put the super macro on. Anyway, here we go. Okay, that was 3 minutes. And as you noticed, I kept moving them around all the time. However, you probably also noticed that they were bouncing around pretty good on their own there, and I probably didn't need to do that. But it made me feel better. I realize this is not the macro lens. But what I've done here is I've rinsed these off with plain hot water to get any soap residue off again. Same as I did, what was it, yesterday we did this? And yeah, once again I'm going to be careful not to touch them with my fingers because I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Don't know if I'm going to use that brass blackening stuff, you know, that puts some sort of a black oxide on this stuff, I guess. At least I'm assuming that's the way it works. Or am I going to try and paint them with a black paint? Something, you know, just plain paint, not the primer. And I will be doing it. If I paint them, I've decided I'm going to do it a different way. I'm not going to be sticking them down on the masking tape where the paint can sort of pool along the side. That was what the problem was. It was where it had stuck tight against the masking tape and the paint built up along the edge. That's what caused our problem. So I don't want to be doing that again. Anyway, let's put the super macro on and just move right on up close to a little section here. You'll be looking at a little section probably about 3/8 of an inch long. Now I realize that some of you are probably thinking that I'm deliberately doing this. I'm saying that we'll get the macro lens on and the next thing you will see will be, and then something else happens. Well, what happens is I start thinking about something else and I just want to, you know, you just follow through on it, or I'm going to maybe forget about it. And what I'm thinking of now is what kind of a field of view does the macro lens you take in? And this bottom scale here is millimeters. So each one of those increments that you see there is a millimeter. And now we'll put the macro lens on and just for the fun of it, see how many millimeters the field of view is. The width, not the height. Well, it looks like almost 7.5 millimeters. Okay, it should be clear that I've selected the end where it's curved because the inside of the curve would probably be the most difficult to have removed the primer. And offhand, I would say that all of the primer is gone. I don't see any sign of primer anywhere on these things. Now, we can't take the time to look at all of the area of each one of these pieces, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, I think it's safe to say we got all the primer off. Now, I just can't let it rest, can I? When I was editing out those last few scenes there, I was seeing little black specks in the micro cracks, you might say, in this photo etch. Now I'm just zooming down right now. I am as close as I can get. I wish I could show this to you. And I was wondering, are those little black specks residue? And you know what? Yeah, they are. There is residue of the primer on these things, but it is so minute. Once again, for all intents and purposes, we may as well say all the primer is off. But when you look at it, I mean, I've gone beyond my super macro by about 10 times. And yeah, you can see it. Okay, let's give this up. I mean, there's no end to this. Now, I haven't even removed the pieces that we sprayed yesterday off of this masking tape. And I should have done that last night already. I think the longer I leave them on, the greater the chance that I'm going to have masking tape, sticky stuff on the other side. Yeah, and as for these, probably about half an hour ago I went down into my workshop and I unplugged my air hose. I had it plugged in this morning, and the plan was that I was going to do some spraying. And people just walk past the window there and they're looking in and they're probably seeing me sitting here and they're thinking, oh, the poor old guy, he's talking to himself. Anyway, truth be known, that's actually happening. My computer, every once in a while, the microphone's plugged in and it'll say, and Cortana says, I can help you with that. It's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble here. And later this afternoon, I'm going to be going over to the daughter's house for Christmas dinner, so I got to cut this off here. You know, it's really too bad when family life cuts into my important model making, right? I hope you know I'm kidding. Anyway, I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.